Okay, take notice I'm in the IS-3, and Anthony's going to demonstrate how to side scrape. If you've got an enemy sitting here that's watching your corner and getting ready to shoot you, what he is doing is what you want to do. Side scraping is where you're just showing your side, and he can back up far enough to where he's just barely showing his side. And again, if you elongate your side like that, I can shoot him, but more likely to either damage his tracks or get a bounce, because he's giving me a better angle for him and a better or poor angle for me. Obviously, it's going to be a longer angle of armor for me to penetrate than it would being perpendicular to him. Now, hopefully, you would understand that given this situation, you would not want to sit where I am with the IS-3. You'd either want to be hugging the building or hugging the other side of the building opposite the T-34. Anthony, can you turn parallel to the building and almost face? Yeah, there you go. Now, one thing you don't want to do is what I'm doing right now. You don't want to pull out and show your side. Obviously, I can get a shot on him, but he's got a perfect side shot on me. My ammo rack's right there, and if he's smart enough, he'll take out my tracks, and then anybody that's with him or behind him will be able to hit me as well, especially if I've already used my repair kit. Now, if I need to get around that corner at him, I'm going to do a side scrape kind of like he did, and I'm going to try and angle my side. I'm going to angle your side and back up until you have a shot on him. So basically, he and I are doing a side scrape to each other right now. I've got just a shot on his front, and same for him as well on me, but neither of us has an excellent shot on each other.
Yeah, I would never have thought of sitting that way.
Now, this is something that I have not gone over with anybody. Jay, when I say the word stack, do you know what that means? Do you know how to stack next to somebody? Just pull up parallel to me.
I've never heard of that, but I'm assuming you just want...
Right, or just numerical superiority on a corner. Again, if I'm fighting somebody and he's around the corner like that, I'm going to angle myself towards this corner, so if I peek out at him, around the corner at him, I'm gonna try and show him an angle, not give him a flat side. And then Jay, if you could just be parallel to me, like, say we count down 1, 2, 3, let's hit him. When we hit 3, then we're both gonna pull out. Jay is gonna sit behind me as far as he can and just barely get his gun out. You don't want to, like, if I'm, let's see.
Do you want me to pull around and demonstrate with you?
Yeah, go ahead. Kevin's going to take up the spot of the enemy. Kevin, back up just a little bit. Okay, now if you go around the corner to shoot, I've got a shot on Kevin, and see how Anthony is nearly completely covered by my tank, so only one of us is going to take fire. You especially want to do this if Anthony has low HP. The person with the most HP needs to be on the front, and let me say this while we're talking about it. When you're doing corner fighting, you want the biggest tank, best armor, most HP on the closest side to the wall. I can't tell you how many times I've been with people that had no idea how to corner fight, and there was some IS-3 sitting on the inside of a corner when I had my E100, and I'm sitting in the position that Anthony was, and I should have been on the inside. So you always want the biggest tank sitting closest to the enemy. And again, you have to remember how quickly people reload. Anthony's got a longer reload than I do by about 3 seconds. And in this position, Kevin has the shortest reload at about 9? I think an IS-6 is a reload of about 9. When you're stacking a corner, this is exactly how you want to do it. And there'll be times where we'll stack, sometimes 4 deep, but you may be 3 deep. And another nice thing about this is somebody in the back can cover your back flank. He can back up and shoot down the road if he needs to. And again, you always want to be at an angle instead of being flat. Anthony, I think I went over about everything in the notes and everything that I had planned on going over. Anything that you wanted to add?
Never expose the drive wheel closest to the building. That's asking to get permatracked and stuck there.
If you I'm not sure if you're understanding what Anthony is saying. In this position, I would want to move up here and keep my, like I still have a shot on Kevin, but my track wheel closest to the building is still hidden from Kevin, and the only track wheel that is exposed to him is the one to the outside.
Oh,
A lot of people like to go for the tracks first whenever you pop around the corner. If they go for that far track wheel, most likely they'll probably track you, but usually they won't do any damage since there's nothing behind it.
And there's a better angle for you if they get the outside track wheel than the inside track wheel. You'll have more of a chance of bouncing. Plus, if they track you like that, any guys behind them are going to be able to get perfect shots on you as well. Basically, if you're doing a stack like Anthony and I are, and somebody like Kevin peeks around, I track him while we both have shots on him. That's obvious, so we already have a numerical superiority on him.
So right like that, you'd be toast.
May I take the IS-6's place, see if I got it?
Sure. Corner fighting is one of the things that in clan wars, well, I mean anything, it is imperative that you understand how to do it well. The upper tier clans and better players, corner fighting is one of the things that they'll learn first and perfect well. There are so many maps that corner fighting, even if it's not a city map, that you have to have corner fighting down well anytime you have an obstacle.
So I'm in the Panther 2. Is this a good position?
Yeah, that's not bad.
See, I'm used
Too
to
far
seeing
forward now.
I'm used to seeing rear-mounted turreted vehicles do this, or a reverse version.
There are some scenarios that we can't cover here just because it would take too long, but there are videos posted with this training that are really good and would be helpful to watch. It'll give you some scenarios as far as rear turreted tanks or front turreted tanks.
here's a silly question for you. Ricky and I are faced off in a corner, and when Ricky comes up with his 59, his gun actually goes through the wall and comes out at my tank. Can he shoot? Yeah, like right there.
No.
Your gun
No,
is
he won't be
actually
able to
right
shoot.
through the... It won't be able to shoot me?
No, it's what is on his side. I don't know if that makes sense. It's what's on his computer. So he's seeing the corner on his computer. He'll shoot, but he's hitting the wall. It's just an example of clipping.
Okay.
And so since the barrels don't actually have...
You're right, it doesn't hit me.
hit
That's
model.
cool.
Good question, Kevin. When you're face hugging somebody, you generally want to give them an angle. Okay, Kevin, just stay where you are. This is face hugging when you get right up in somebody's grill. Now, with the IS-3, you can go, if you're this proximity to somebody, this is an okay position for an IS-3 because my front armor is angled, but you would want to turn your tank at an angle to one direction or the other, like 30 to 35 degrees. You want to turn it almost like this because your front armor is flat. There are few tanks that have angled armor like this does. You know, there are Russian tanks like that. Some of the American tanks have a rounded hole. But generally speaking, like if I'm going up against a Type 59, I'll just face him straight on because there are few places that he can pen on my turret. And if he's using gold, he can pen my front. But he's more likely to get bounced if I face him straight on. Now, Ricky turned at an angle to me. That is about how a Type 59 would want to face. You'd almost want to give somebody a 45-degree angle so that they're side and the front. Basically, you want to expose more of the front because you have stronger armor there than you do on the side, but you want to give them an angle so that the steel is thicker from the direction of the shot. Anthony, you got anything else?
So pointed nose, you point directly at the enemy, but flat nose, you go sideways.
Exactly. Whatever you do, want to keep your... I'm trying to think of the simplest way to word this, but you want to keep the angle of the enemy towards you as close to a 45-degree angle as possible and not a 90-degree angle. You don't want to give them a flat surface. You want to give them the angled surface at all times.
You want to keep the steepest angle possible toward the enemy tank.
And I think this kind of goes without saying, but the reason you're doing that is your frontal armor may be 30 millimeters, we'll say, and then if you turn it at an angle, you just increased it to as much as 45 millimeters that they have to punch through now. So when you angle, you give them a thicker hide to shoot through. And that'll result in more bounces.
Pertinent to the question that Easy had about the wall, Similarly, if you're face hugging someone and your gun goes into their turret graphics wise, does that mean you're going to miss when you shoot?
Nope.
No.
It's like first person shooter. Your side of the server is basically flat, so it's not. That's called clipping when the graphics, when the rendering shows that it's through a surface, or sometimes it'll show you can see a turret or a gun all the way through a tank all the way out on the other side. If you shoot, it's going to hit the guy right in front of you. Anthony, can you think of a better way to explain that?
Basically, the barrel ends right at the end of the turret.
Okay, and just to clarify, if
This is the President of the United States of America. You have a very important phone call. I would answer this immediately.
User in your channel was banned.
oh, that's good, I like that. Also, does it make a difference when you're hugging somebody if your barrel goes clear through them and out the other side? Will you still hit them when you shoot? Okay, thank you.
Basically,
Always wondered about that, but wasn't willing to take my life into option when trying it out.
So the answer was, even though the barrel goes through the tank, as long as the very front of it's on the front of the tank, you will still shoot them?
If you enter sniper mode, whatever you see is what you're going to hit.
As far as the game cares, about the first foot of your barrel is all that really matters to it. The rest of it's just visuals.
Gotcha.
Hyper mode.
And to ask another question, can you shoot someone's barrel?
Oh yeah.
The first foot of it.
The first
That's
foot
about
of it, okay. And that's a guaranteed gun hit if it damages it?
Yeah.
Alright, always wondered about that too.
I wanted to demonstrate it, but we used up 28 minutes, or however many minutes we had in here. We only have 2 left. Do you guys want to practice with each other? Should we do another training room?
I'm up
Or
for another
do you-
training room.
Okay. Anthony, you want to try it again?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Kill the red tanks.